Thank you for joining me. I'd like to thank Robert, Dara, Thon, the software team led by Mr. Abazi, and the other Uber drivers in attendance. As you guys know, there are over 75 million riders that rely on 3 million drivers to get them from point A to point B on a daily basis. And I have an idea for you guys. You're gonna love this. It's gonna help connect drivers with passengers, keep everybody happy, keep Uber moving, and doing so keep passengers moving. I'm talking about a new feature that you guys should incorporate to your app called Uber Local Driver. When you open up your app, just start it up, and you will be on your way. As we all know, there's two parts to it. There's the driver part and there's the app part. I'm focusing on the driver part. Drivers have obligations that they meet daily. They have work, they have school, they have kids, soccer practice, and then they have that little chunk of time from like 8 or 9 p.m. to 11 or midnight that they're free. And according to the website, to Uber, you can earn on your schedule. But sometimes drivers are very limited to their own availability. The next thing that we have is we have a driver problem that is a lack of familiarity of the areas that they are Ubering in. So for instance, I live here in Santa Clarita, and when I first started driving Uber, I went down to Huntington Beach, I went to downtown Los Angeles, I went to Santa Monica, all throughout San Fernando Valley. And these are areas that I have not driven in that much up to 2 years ago. But through using Uber and through driving, I've become more familiar with those areas, but that still doesn't solve the problem with driver familiarity or the lack thereof. We'll have drivers that are familiar with their own hometown for places to eat, entertainment, places to hang out, fun things to do, parks they can go to where they can take their kids. If the area is a good place to raise a family, and when you drive into another area of a geographical region, say not here, but you go to Los Angeles, to downtown LA, and you get customers and they want to know where to eat, where to drink, what kind of entertainment to look forward to. Sometimes the only thing I have to say is welcome to the butt crack of California, and passengers laugh and it eases tension. So drivers have a lack of familiarity in locations that they're Ubering in. And another issue that we have is in terms of drivers who get off of work at 5:30 at night, they go for hours. It's easy to put in 3, 4, 5 hours of work. But sometimes you start Uber at 5:30 at night, and after 8+ hours, 23, 24+ trips, you end up 2 hours east of your hometown and you're very tired and you don't get home until 12 hours after you got off of your normal day job. You're tired, you're fatigued, and there's absolutely no guarantee that even using Uber's current technology that you will get a ride driving home. And part of this is because there's problems in the current system that Uber has through the driver's app. There is a lack of preparation on the driver's part. When we go and we pick up a customer, we don't know where we're taking them until we swipe the app and start the trip. Sometimes it could be a very quick trip around the corner, like anywhere from a half mile to a quarter mile to even 1,000 yards, because the person you picked up has a bad back that day or a bad knee, and they appreciate it. That's a very short trip. It still gets the quota met for the weekly goals to get the drivers their promotional bonuses. But there are times where you pick up a passenger and the passenger is going to go 70 miles away to Disneyland, and drivers are not always 100% prepared for that. They might be getting close to the end of their shift and they decide to take the ride because they want the extra money, but you go back and you realize that drivers still get tired. Another lack of preparation example is I've picked up a rider who rode from here in Santa Clarita to Washington State. So the driver was not necessarily 100% prepared for that trip too. But he took the trip after talking to the rider and talking to his employer. And then there's another example of a trip that went from the East Coast all the way here to the West Coast. It cost the rider, or it either cost the rider $7,000 or it made the driver $7,000. The rider gave him a pretty nice tip. But that driver had to cancel prior obligations. This is stuff that drivers are not 100% ready to do when they turn the Uber app on. Another area that the system lacks is professionalism. Now, taxi services and limousine services, customers are ready for the ride, they request the ride shows up, picks them up, takes them to the destination, no problems, no questions. Now, one of the things that is a problem though is if the driver plans to stay local or only wants to go so far away from home, the driver has to pick up the phone, call up the customer, and the customer may find it a little annoying. Why am I getting called after requesting an Uber ride? And this gives a chance for the driver to verify where the driver is going to be taking the customer and figure out if they want to take that trip or not take that trip. But it comes off as very unprofessional for the customer. And this also goes hand in hand with this third point, failure of communication. Sometimes I've had rides where I get the request, it's late at night, I want to stay local, but the passenger is not picking up their phone and they're not responding to text messages. So the problem happens when I go and I pick up the customer and it turns out that the customer is in fact going out of town to downtown Los Angeles when due to time and due to normal everyday wear and tear on my own body, I want to stay local and have a little bit of a shorter ride. Another problem with this failure of communication is sometimes you do call up the customer and you ask if the customer is staying local. Unfortunately, the customer doesn't understand and they say yes, and when you pick up the customer, they are going out of town still. So these are issues that need to be solved all over. Let me put it this way. We have here Santa Clarita, my hometown, my home valley. It's got about 250,000 residents locally, with around 300 to 350,000, if not more, residents in the surrounding areas. If you add in Stevenson Ranch, West Ridge, Castaic, Agua Dulce, and all those other unincorporated areas. As a driver, you have kids. You're going to drop your kids off to, say, soccer practice or to watch a movie. Here, I put a pin drop at the Valencia Town Center. It's a mall, the local mall in town, and it has a theater, some fun dining and eateries. Your kid's gonna watch a 2-hour-long movie, maybe 2.5 hours. If it's a new Star Wars or a new Marvel movie, you are looking at maybe around 3 hours. You have 3 hours to kill. You want to make that money back in order to pay for those tickets for your daughter, your son, and your son's girlfriend. You give them money, they're going to go have fun. You're going to go out, make some money, come back. Unfortunately, you don't want to risk driving down to Los Angeles. If you look here, this is the 5. Around rush hour time, the 5 is a very terrible place to be coming northbound. Sure, you can get a warning on the Uber app saying this ride is going to take 45 minutes, but that doesn't always happen because there are plenty of trips that take 35 to 40 and even 44 minutes. To miss that 45-minute mark, that will take you far south and take you far longer to get back to town. So how do we solve this problem? You could be on the road for an hour. You have an hour left. You have a half-hour ride going out. you hit traffic coming back. You want to make sure that you're there to pick up your kids when they're ready, especially if it's late at night and there's construction going on like there is right now on the 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to set a pin mark in the app, and then you're going to set a radius. Right here I have it set for about 2 to 3 miles out from the town center, with that little brown dot being where the center is. With Local Driver, the app will only send you requests that will be both picked up and dropped off within the geographical region, within the radius set through the app. Now this is a decent area, but we could do better. Local Driver adds flexibility. So let's say that you want to get even more possibility for rides. It's easy to get around town. Let's move that radius out to, say, 5 to 7 miles. This still prevents you from hitting a lot of this traffic because there's not really that much going on over here, but it still provides plenty of rides for passengers and plenty of ground to cover for drivers. It'll keep drivers happy, keep passengers happy, keep Uber moving. Again, in this app, drivers will only receive requests for rides that are going to be picked up and dropped off within this radius. Whatever the driver set to, either a 2 mile, 5 mile, 10 mile radius, whatever that radius is, the driver will only get rides in that area. So let's do this. Some benefits that you're going to notice for this is going to be more alert drivers. If drivers are not having to drive long distances a lot, they're not going to be worn out. But if you're in stop and go traffic in town or driving and hitting stoplights, they're going to be more alert. They're going to be paying attention more. They're going to have a little bit less fatigue. There's going to be more available drivers. I can't tell you how many riders I picked up here in Santa Clarita that are surprised I am local here. A lot of times they get drivers from Irvine, from Long Beach, Huntington Beach, downtown LA that have made their ways up here, and they don't know anything about the town. In keeping with everything, you're going to have better customer relations. And by this, I'm going to backtrack it back to that driver familiarity. Customers will be able to talk to their drivers about things to do in town. I was asked about Six Flags the other day. I was asked about where good tacos were in town. This allows drivers to not need to call their customers for every single ride just to verify that they're going to be in town. It's going to come off as very professional, and customers will not be irritated when you pick them up too. But overall, it's going to keep drivers moving, it's going to keep passengers moving, it's going to keep everybody happy, and it's going to keep Uber going strong. One last thing, do you have any questions for me? Thank you for your time.